That's a great question. I'm a social scientist by training, so data is incredibly important to me. I think it's important to make data-driven decisions and evidence-based decisions. So for me, it's important that we bring in evidence-based programs and evidence-based policies into our local government systems, particularly the criminal justice system. I am really fortunate to have a broad base of advisors and mentors and community members that I hear from regularly, and so making sure that I have broad impact and always look to the data and the evidence for what makes sense for our community moving forward. I believe in transparency and accountability, which means even after I've made a decision, I make sure I stand by it, and if I need to change my mind based on new information and new data, that's okay with me. I think it's important to talk through that process and make sure that we do those things in a transparent way. So for me, it's all about the data, the evidence, hearing from multiple sources and folks, but then also being accountable for the decisions that I make as a leader.
So I also take a data-driven approach. I think like a scientist, I work like a scientist. I always want to pull in as much outside data as I can and information so that we're moving forward with good facts and good information. I also know from serving on the Planning Commission that you don't always get enough of that before it's time to make a decision. And sometimes you have to draw on the experiences that you have, which I have a diverse set of experiences that I can draw on from my career. But I also draw on the experiences of my community and the people that I associate with. So, which is lived experience from a variety of things, from friends who've experienced homelessness or who've raised foster kids that have had dealings with the criminal justice system. I really value the input not only of my own experiences, but also the people that I associate with in Douglas County. You can never hear enough voices, you can never have enough voices in the system. It's valuable when we get public input for an item, drawing from my experience on the Planning Commission, that we make sure we've heard from a variety of perspectives. If one of those is missing, then the decision that comes out of that just can't be as strong. And that could be anywhere across, from not hearing from the business community or not hearing from the neighborhood. To be able to balance those things, we really need to hear more voices. So I would love to see more diversity of people and lived experience on our county boards so that we know that the information that's being, or the perspectives from policy that are being channeled up to the county commission have been vetted by the community as a whole and not just through a small group of hand-chosen individuals. So I have had the experience of making tough choices. Some of them were right, some of them were wrong, many of them in between. We're constantly learning, and we need to always be in a state of humility where it's okay to look back and say, that wasn't the right decision. It's time to go back and look at it again or fix it. So I'm not a rule follower by nature. I am a rule changer by nature. So I'm always on the lookout for what isn't working and how can we change it. So I think that there are a lot of opportunities for that kind of role on the county commission.
Well, I would say how I have a very diverse community of people that I have long relationships with, of having interesting and difficult conversations. I invite, I think trust is something that fuels organizations, and that you have to ask the questions like, what do you see that I don't see? I only know what I know. I would be asking you all, hey, I would be asking you, what are your thoughts? You're the business people. You're the ones that probably, you're doing the work every day. What are you experiencing? What don't I know about what you're experiencing? So I think you have to promote people telling you things. Like, you have to create a culture where you promote people telling you things that you really don't want to hear or you'd rather not think about, and you have to really embrace that. And I think that that creates a culture of trust and owners, people that are, and that begin to feel like, hey, we can disagree, but we can go somewhere together and produce something. So I think humility is a big part of that, just realizing that there's things you don't know. You don't presume to know. There's lots you don't know, and there's lots I don't know. So yeah, transparent conversations and creating a culture where it's okay for people to really say what they think. And because we're trying to go somewhere together and, you know, working for something bigger than just our own individual agendas, I see that's how you do it.
So I think I can speak to this from the perspective of someone who's actually on the commission and has made decisions. And of course, the first job of a seated elected person on the commission is to follow a state statute, understand the Kansas Open Meetings laws, to reserve judgment on an issue until all sides are heard at a publicly called meeting, in a public setting, with a public vote, full discussion, public comment made. And so I think decision-making on the county commission is, in a way, it feels constrained sometimes because you have to work within that process, but it's also a good process because it keeps us open and transparent and fair. So I think absolutely looking for as many voices, as many diverse attitudes and perspectives as possible, reading our packets deeply and with detail and intelligence, looking for real evidence and data and common sense, sorting the wheat from the chaff, knowing what narratives are true and what aren't true, and then being able to weave it all together in a way that makes sense for the most citizens in the county as a public, with a public servant's heart. So to have a heart for the community and make every decision based on what is best for those citizens. Absolutely, the commission is committed to data-driven and evidence-based programs. We're all about that all the time. And in terms of making decisions, I have the experience of making some really hard decisions, ones that were politically unpopular, but with the data that we had, they are the right decisions. But I also have the experience of changing that decision when the data, the economy, the moment in history makes that change necessary. So both sides of it, I've done both sides, and I'm confident I can